my lovelies, it is time for round 63 of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. And in the Have I Read It, you actually get to help with picking my TBR. So the way this works is I go back and I react to a haul that's been over 3 years ago, and I tell you if I've read the book, if I've unhauled the book, or if I haven't read the book and I still own it. And out of the ones that I still own that I have not read, you get to vote on which book or books that I should add to my TBR. So in order to not have an absurd amount added, the way I do this is if I have 1 through 10 unread that I still own, I'll pick the number 1 voted book. 11 through 20, I'll pick the top 2, and so on and so on. This month I am actually doing 3 Have I Read It's. So who knows how many I'm going to end up adding overall. Okay, so today we're going to be reacting to my book haul August 2019. And I have it already pulled up here. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my August book haul for you, so stay tuned. So for the month of August, I have 16 books to haul for you, and these do not include my book outlet books because, well, I do those in a completely separate video. So these are books that were either gifted to me or came in subscription boxes or just books I ordered, things like that. So let's see, the first 3 books here are books that Xander actually got for me at his school. It was so cute. So they had this thing where they were like free books that they were trying to get rid of, and he went through and looked at books that he thought I would enjoy, and I thought that was just the cutest, sweetest thing ever. So he picked out 3 books. The first one is Geeks by Jon Huckeby. It's how 2 lost boys rode the internet out of Idaho. And I have not read Geeks. I think I still own this one. And how cute is that? Okay, let me look. Okay, I don't think I've unhauled that one, so let me write this down. Okay, this says, Jesse and Eric were geeks, suspicious of authority figures, proud of their status as outsiders, fervent in their belief in the positive power of technology. High school had been an unbearable experience, and their small-town Idaho families had been torn apart by hard times. On the fringe of society, they had almost no social lives and little to look forward to. They spent every spare cent on their computers and every spare moment online. Nobody ever spoke of them, much less for them. But then they met Jon Huckeby, a roving journalist who suggested that in the age of geek impresario Bill Gates, Jesse and Eric had marketable skills that could get them out of Idaho and pave the way to a better life. So they bravely set out to conquer Chicago, geek style. Told with Katz's trademark charm and sparkle, Geeks is a humorous, moving tale of triumph over adversity and self-acceptance that delivers 2 irresistible heroes for the digital age and reveals the very human face of technology. So if you want me to read this, vote Geeks. All right. It's never a good sign when we start out with the very first book being one that I haven't read. All right, next. Okay, so the second book that he got was actually one that I already have, and so I'm going to be giving this to my mother-in-law. But that is Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. I did unhaul Gathering Blue. All right, next. And then the next book is Revelations, a Blue Bloods novel by Melissa de la Cruz. I believe I still have that one. I'm not sure if that's one I've read yet or not, so let me double check. Okay, so Revelations is book 3 in the Blue Blood series, and I've read books 1 and 2. I have not read a book 3 yet. And Blue Bloods are essentially vampires that came over on the Mayflower. And they're now like high society in New York. So if you want me to read this, vote Revelations. All right, next up. So the next 4 books are books that my friend Clint over at Reed's Readers sent me as sort of a late birthday present. So the first one I'm actually currently reading. I'm not sure what my thoughts on this book are yet, but that is The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty by Anne Rice, writing as A.N. Rocolari. I unhauled that book. I hated that book. Hated it. Yeah, unhaul. Next is Whispers, or The Whispers by Greg Howard. I don't know if I've read this one or not. Let me check. I don't think I have. Okay, I have not read it, and I do still own it. This says 11-year-old Riley believes in the Whispers, magical fairies that will grant you wishes if you leave them tributes. Riley has a lot of wishes. He wishes bullies at school would stop picking on him. He wishes Dylan, his 8th grade crush, liked him. And Riley wishes he would stop wetting the bed. But most of all, Riley wishes for his mom to come back home. She disappeared a few months ago, and Riley is determined to crack the case. He even meets with the detective, Frank, to go over his witness statement time and time again. Frustrated with the lack of progress in the investigation, Riley decides to take matters into his own hands. So he goes on a camping trip with his friend Gary to find the Whispers and ask them to bring his mom back home. But Riley doesn't realize the trip will shake the foundation of everything he believes in forever. And this is a middle grade. It sounds really interesting. So yeah, if you want me to read this, vote The Whispers. All right, next up. And then the other 2 books he sent me, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was so excited about. And I haven't read them yet. But they are, well, we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander, and Property of Hogwarts Library, Quidditch Through the Ages by Kenilworthy Wisp. I have unhauled both of them. Next. Okay, so these next 2 books are books that came in my unplugged book box. So I think the first one was in my young adult one, and the second one was in the adult one, I believe. So the first one is Remember Me by Chelsea Bablowski. I don't know. I have to look. I feel like I've unhauled that, but I'm not sure. No, that's one I still own. This says, in this eerie, suspenseful YA, a teen girl discovers what connects her to the hotel she calls home as horrifying visions lead her to the truth. Nell Martin is moving again, this time to the Winslow Grand Hotel, built in 1878. As Neil is settling in, strange things begin to happen. Doors lock on their own accord, writing appears on bathroom walls, and most horrifying of all, visions of a dead boy permeate her waking life. Thinking it was her mind playing tricks on her, she soon finds the past and the present colliding as she learns horrific details of a murder that happened at the hotel in 1905 involving a girl named Leah. Nell and a mysterious bellboy must relive that day in hopes of finally breaking the curse that imprisons them both. And Nell discovers what truly links her to the history of the Winslow Grand Hotel. So if you want me to read this, vote Remember Me. All right, next up. And then the one that I think was in the adult box was The Arrangement by Robin Harding. I have not read this one, and I believe I still have it. Okay, this says, Natalie, a young art student in New York City, is struggling to pay her bills when a friend makes a suggestion. Why not go online and find a sugar daddy, a wealthy older man who will pay for her dates and even give her a monthly allowance. Lots of girls do it, Nat learns. All that's required is to look pretty and hang on his every word. Sexual favors are optional. Though more than 30 years her senior, Gabe, a handsome corporate finance attorney, seems like the perfect candidate, and within a month they are madly in love. At least Nat is. Gabe already has a family whom he has no intention of leaving. So when he abruptly ends things, Nat can't let go. She begins drinking heavily and stalking him, watching him at work, spying on his wife, even befriending his daughter, who is not much younger than she is. But Gabe's not about to let his sugar baby destroy his perfect life. What was supposed to be a mutually beneficial arrangement devolves into a nightmare of deception, obsession, and when a body is found near Gabe's posh Upper East Side apartment, murder. So if you want me to read this, vote The Arrangement. All right, we are up to 5 already. Okay. All right, next up. So this next book is probably the one that I was most excited about because I got an amazing freaking deal on this. So Books A Million, they have this thing called the Millionaires Club, which is just their little membership rewards program thing. And they sent out an email one day that was about this deal that they were having, and it was in store only, and it was only going to be on that day. So I see this email at 10:36 p.m. The store closes at 11 p.m. and it takes me 14 minutes to get from my house to the store. So if I left right that second and drove to the store, I could get there at 10:50. So I'd get there just before it closes. So the deal was, for any book, and you can only get one book like this, any book in the entire store would be a penny a page. So you can only get one book like this. And I knew the second I saw that email what I wanted to get, and I rushed to the store and I got this book for a penny a page, which meant I only paid $2 and something for this book because there's only 200 and something pages in it. But oh my gosh, I got the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for $2 and something. I actually unhauled that. Next up. Okay, so the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books are books that I got from the Amazon Vine program. And most of the books that they send are ARCs. I have gotten like one finished copy, but the rest of them are all ARCs. Granted, some of these books have already been out for a while. Some haven't come out yet. Some are coming out soon. I don't know how they make their selection on what goes on there, but this is what I got. So I have Only Ashes Remain by Rebecca Schaeffer. Okay, I believe I still own this, and I think it's a sequel to something, so let me double check. It is the sequel to Not Even Bones by Rebecca Schaeffer, and I have not read that, so that's the one I'm going to tell you about. This says, Dexter meets this savage song in this dark fantasy about a girl who sells magical body parts on the black market until she's betrayed. Nita doesn't murder supernatural beings and sell their body parts on the internet. Her mother does. Her mother does that. Nita just dissects the bodies after they've been acquired, but when her mom brings home a live specimen, Nita decides she wants out. Dissecting living people is a step too far. But when she tries to save her mother's victim, she ends up sold on the black market in his place, because Nita herself is a supernatural being. Now Nita is on the other side of the bars, and there is no line she won't cross to escape to make sure no one can ever capture her again. Nita did a good thing, and it cost her everything. Now she's going to do a lot of bad deeds to get it all back. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote Not Even Bones. All right, next up. Okay, next we have A Mother Knows Best by Kira Peikoff. I'm not sure. Okay, that is one that I still have and have not read. I'm not doing very well this time at all. Okay, so this says, A Mother's Worst Nightmare, A Chance at Redemption, and a Deadly Secret that haunts a family across the generations. There's only room for one mother in this family. Claire Abrams' dreams became a nightmare when she passed on a genetic mutation that killed her little boy. Now she wants a second chance to be a mother and finds it in Robert Nash, a maverick fertility doctor who works under the radar with Jillian Hendricks, a cunning young scientist bent on making her mark and seducing her boss. Claire, Robert, and Jillian work together to create the world's first baby with 3 genetic parents, an unprecedented feat that could eliminate inherited disease. But when word of their illegal experiment leaks to the wrong person, Robert escapes into hiding with the now pregnant Claire, leaving Jillian to serve out a prison sentence that destroys her future. 10 years later, a spunky girl named Abigail begins to understand that all is not right with the reclusive man and woman she knows as her parents. But the family's problems are only beginning. Jillian, hardened by a decade of jealousy and loss, has returned, and nothing will stop her from reuniting with the man and daughter who should have been hers. Past, present, and future converge in a mesmerizing psychological thriller from acclaimed best-selling author Kira Peikoff. So if you want me to read this, vote Mother Knows Best. All right, next up. Next up we have Symptoms of Heartbreak by Sona Charapotra. I think I unhauled that, but let me double check. Yes, I did unhaul that. All right, next up. Next up is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. I can't remember if I've read this one or not, if I've unhauled it or not. Let me check. Oh, I did read this one and I unhauled it. Next up. Oh, put my earbud in. All right. Next up. And then the last of the Amazon Vine books, we have The Hive. I have read The Hive. I'm pretty sure I still own that one too. Yeah. All right. Next. And then the last book that I have here is actually a bind up, and it is The Giver Quartet by Lois Lowry. I haven't read the whole quartet. I only read The Giver, which is the first book. I feel like I would probably need to read The Giver again because it's been a really long time. But I wouldn't make that the one for you to vote on. If you want me to read the next book in the Giver Quartet, that would be Gathering Blue. And just to give you an overall what the Giver series is about, Jonas is born into a society that has eliminated suffering. It's not until Jonas goes to meet the Giver in his training to become the new receiver that he realizes that you cannot have true pleasure and understanding without suffering. Finally, the societies that the characters are a part of are focused on order. So, I know in the first one, like, he starts seeing colors and things like that. So they have, like, they're given medicine so that their whole world is like black, white, gray, and emotions and feelings and all of that kind of stuff is kind of like wiped out, and everybody is even and all of that. But Jonas, he starts seeing the color red, and he learns about all these things that they're kept from knowing, and I very, very much enjoyed The Giver. So if you want me to read this, vote Gathering Blue. Okay, so I think that was the last book. Yeah, and that means I have 8 that I own that I have not read. So I will pick the number 1 voted book. So comment down below which book or books. You can vote for as many books as you like. But yeah, comment down below and I will pick the number 1 voted. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye.